The recent video I did, Top 10 Wanted Sun and Moon Mega Evolutions, was some of the most fun I've had for a video in a long time. Collaborating with an amazing Pokemon player, artist, and video editor all at the same time to make an unofficial Pokemon come to life was an absolute blast. But there was just one problem. It looks possible that the new Mega Evolutions might not be in Sun and Moon at all. Sure, there's always the chance that new Megas are in the game and are well hidden, but the big 7th generation reveal ended up being the new Alolan forms for the various Kanto Pokemon, completely changing old 1st generation Pokemon, giving them new typing and design. Because the Sun and Moon Megas video was such a good time, I've decided to bring together another team for another round of fake Pokemon forms that we'd love to see. We still have the amazing Artsy Theo providing the artwork, and we have a new Pokemon video game expert guest to discuss the competitive aspect of our new creations. Our newest Pokemon VGC World Champion, Wolf Glick. Let's check out some fan-made Alolan forms. Starting the day off is a Pokemon that inspired me to make this video in the first place, Lapras. Artsy Theo posted a picture of their concept for a new Alolan Lapras form in their own style. I saw this post and immediately knew it was time to unleash more Artsy Theo art on the world. For the Sugimori style art, we experimented with both this color scheme as well as a new one. While Kanto Lapras is known as a common means of transportation, you wouldn't want to get on the back of one of these. And while most of today's fan forms weren't designed with competitive Pokemon in play, Wolf is going to do his best to share some of the ways that these Pokemon might be used in battle.
Alolan Lapras is, in my mind, one of the most threatening and cool concepts we have here. Alolan Lapras' new typing has the potential to change the way Lapras plays, from a bulky wall that slowly chips away at your Pokemon, to a more offensive Pokemon that you need to cover for right away. The most dangerous potential of Alolan Lapras, in my mind, comes from the potential for strong spread moves like Eruption, the reduced damage from Grass-type attacks, the ability to have tools to handle both the rain and sun weather effects, and the potential to recover HP if it keeps water absorbed.
Not every Alolan form design that we made ended up being purely based on Hawaiian themes, but Jynx was another one that we had losing its icy exterior to the warm waters. While we experimented with a Fire-type Jynx based off of Pele, the Hawaiian goddess of fire, we ended up enjoying the Mermaid Jynx even more. I've always felt like Jynx was robbed of a new form. It seemed like it was part of this mini trio mimicking the legendary birds, complete with Electabuzz and Magmar. All 3 of these Pokemon got a baby form in the 2nd generation, but only 2 of the 3 got a new evolution in the 4th. What better place than the sunny shores of Alola to give Jynx some more limelight?
Alolan Jynx's new typing and potential for new abilities gives it the potential to make a huge splash in next year's VGC tournaments. Jynx already has some very positive attributes, access to a relatively fast Fake-Out and a great offensive typing in Ice, to name a few. But with the addition of a water typing, access to Scald to aid its physical durability, and potential access to Swift Swim, Jynx can help play a pivotal role both on rain-based teams and in general. I would love to see a boost to Jynx's base defense stat. In my opinion, one of the primary factors holding Jynx back in competitive play is its relatively low base defense stat, as well as the retention of the Dry Skin ability. With these 2 factors aiding Jynx's durability, and perhaps even an accuracy boost on Lovely Kiss, I think Jynx has enormous competitive potential going into next season.
And our 3rd and final Pokemon to receive water typing in its new Alolan form is Electrode. The obvious change for Electrode is to give it a new Pokeball-based design, so we went with water and steel to reflect a ball that could be coming to this area, the Dive Ball. I like to imagine this form hiding near the water or even on the ocean floor, exploding like a booby-trapped treasure chest when disturbed.
Alolan Electrode offers a water-steel dual typing, a typing previously exclusive to Empoleon. Unlike Empoleon, however, Alolan Electrode has an enormously high speed stat, making it a very dangerous Pokemon to ignore. A fast Scald is never something you want to deal with, due to the prevalence of physical Pokemon and Scald's high burn chance. And Electrode can make use of moves like Eerie Impulse to support the team, or Magnet Rise to make itself harder to KO and remove one of its weaknesses. I think one of the scariest options on Alolan Electrode is the potential for a Focus Sash Metal Burst combination, allowing Electrode to do an enormous amount of damage to an unsuspecting opponent, as Metal Burst deals 1.5 times the damage dealt to the Pokemon from the last attack.
While these Alolan forms are cooling down in the water, we also thought of a few ways that Alolan Pokemon could be heating up. We tried to make the Alolan Arbok look intimidating. In the real world, snakes aren't natural to Hawaii. They're an invasive species, and it's actually a huge felony in Hawaii to introduce snakes into their ecosystem. With this in mind, we created an Arbok that looked as if it had stolen a part of the Alolan look, almost criminal-like.
To be completely honest with you, Arbok has never really been able to shine in VGC. Despite getting access to the incredible ability Intimidate, Arbok has been held back by its low base stats more than anything. That being said, I think Alolan Arbok has enormous potential in VGC. One of the best things going for Alolan Arbok is its typing. A 4 times resistance to the popular fairy typing is nothing to scoff at, despite a 4 times weakness to ground. I would love to see Arbok get a much higher base speed stat, as well as access to Will-O-Wisp to help Arbok play a bulky offensive role of threatening fairies as well as being able to threaten physical attackers. Lastly, I think Arbok maintaining both Intimidate and getting access to Flame Body could finally give it the boost it needs to become competitively viable.
Keeping in the theme of heat, we decided to give Golem a makeover in the form of volcanic glass, also known as obsidian. Once again, looking at the real world, obsidian is actually as fragile as glass, but we decided to take some creative liberties here and treat it the same way that many video games treat obsidian. Like it's some ridiculously rare and hard, strong mineral. It looks cool, okay? Give Golem a break. He's desperate.
Golem, like Arbok, is another Generation 1 Pokemon that has never had a taste of the limelight. I really struggle to think of ways to make Golem viable, since it already has so much going against it, but I think I might have finally found something. First, with the change to Steel and Ground typing, Golem loses its enormous weaknesses to Grass and Water, as well as now being able to better handle Fairy-type Pokemon. More unconventionally, I would like to give Golem access to Flash Fire. I think it fits with the theme of Golem's Steel typing resulting from being tempered from a volcano, and without a weakness to Fire type, Golem is only weak to Ground, Water, and Fighting. Golem being able to retain Wide Guard would help protect it from the always popular Earthquake, as well as shielding teammates from spread moves. Lastly, I'd like to see an increase in Golem's base HP and special defense, increasing its survivability. I'd love to live in a world where this forgotten ball of rock can strike fear into the heart of VGC players from Team Preview.
For Rapidash, we decided to go with the low-hanging fruit, the Pegasus transformation. While we do have an electric horse thing with Zebstrika, the Pegasus is something that I've always wanted to make its way into the Pokemon world, and Rapidash seemed like a fun opportunity. The only goal we really had in mind was to make sure that every new form looked awesome, and I think Rapidash passes.
Rapidash is a Pokemon I love, and I would be absolutely thrilled to have it viable in VGC. Rapidash on its own has some good things going for it, access to Will-O-Wisp and Ally Switch, and a high base speed to start, but its poor overall stats and lack of offensive pressure have always held it back. Alolan Rapidash has the potential to change that. In terms of abilities, I think giving Alolan Rapidash Lightning Rod would be phenomenal, as it would help Rapidash support its teammates and also confuse Pikachu when he aims for the horn. In terms of base stats, I think Rapidash could definitely use an increase in overall bulk and also special attack. I would also love to see Rapidash learn Electrify, as it would allow Rapidash to fulfill a very unique supporting role with Electrify and Ally Switch that has not yet been seen, as well as gaining Hurricane, allowing Rapidash to fulfill the role of a supportive Rain Sweeper with Thunder and Hurricane on Rain teams. Giving Alolan Rapidash access to tools to help control the speed of the field would also be excellent, such as Nuzzle, Thunder Wave, and Tailwind.
And while it's always exciting to see new powerful and ferocious forms in Pokemon, we also decided to take a look at the fun ways you could give some cute Pokemon new forms as well. For Clefable, we decided to create a unique dark and fairy typing modeled after the Moonbow, or Lunar Rainbow. The Moonbow is common to Hawaii, typically appearing only at night through the light that we get from the moon.
Clefable is a Pokemon that didn't really stand out in VGC until Generation 6 and the introduction of Fairy typing, allowing it to serve a role as a bulky redirection support Pokemon using Follow Me. With the addition of Dark typing, Clefable would be able to add another offensive aspect to its field presence and even be able to threaten Pokemon like Aegislash, which gave Clefable trouble in Generation 6. The addition of Foul Play could make Clefable a force to be reckoned with, as Foul Play uses the opponent's attack stat, allowing Clefable to focus solely on its defenses. My prediction is that Alolan Clefable would become a familiar face in next year's VGC metagame.
And our other cute Pokemon is Wigglytuff. Out of pure personal bias for love of the Wigglytuff line, I requested that RC Theo turn the silly balloon Pokemon into something new. And that she did, giving us a toasted marshmallow? It's beautiful. I love it. We need no lore or explanation for the design. I believe Alolan Wigglytuff is a beauty that speaks for itself.
Wigglytuff is a super derpy Pokemon, but surprisingly enough, it actually won a regional back in 2014, when 3-time world champion Ray Rizzo capitalized on its spectacular move pool and access to competitive to blow through the competition. While Alolan Wigglytuff looks more like a fancy dessert item than a competitive powerhouse, I think with access to Heat Wave, Fire Blast, and Overheat, as well as either retention of competitive or maybe even access to Drought, it could definitely become a VGC threat.
And we'll close out today with 2 of my favorite powerhouse Pokemon designs from this experiment. Starting with Machamp. At first I was considering trying to find some way for Machamp to gain inner peace, maybe get a fairy typing, the complete opposite of its usual aggressive nature. However, somewhere down the line we realized that maybe it was a little too Medicham-like, so instead we went on a design based on the Vajrapani, a protector figure in Buddhism. Armed with the Vajra, a weapon associated with thunderbolts, we felt like an electric-fueled Machamp seemed appropriate.
Machamp is a Pokemon that actually has a pretty solid VGC history, having won multiple world championships in the senior division. Machamp traditionally plays the role of a slow trick-room attacker, using its good bulk, decent move pool, and the power of Dynamic Punch to put pressure on opposing teams. With that being said, there's two potential routes I'd like to see Alolan Machamp go. One focusing on a significantly higher base speed to increase its viability outside of heavy speed control, and one actually going slower, making Machamp a better sweeper in Trick Room with its new typing and move coverage. I would also love to see some of the electric-specific support moves given to Alolan Machamp, such as Electrify and Ion Deluge. With the increased viability of electric terrain potentially playing a role in VGC 2017, I would love to see Alolan Machamp make an impact.
And finally, to close the day off, is a new form for a Pokemon that's been begging for one for years, Dragonite. We decided to save some Hawaiian influence for last, giving Dragonite a design after the demigod Maui. While Hawaiian legends speak of all sorts of battles, feats, and mischief caused by Maui, his most popular ones speak of how his magic fish hook pulled the Hawaiian Islands up from the water, and how he lassoed the sun to make the days longer in the summer. We gave Dragonite the fighting type to match the feats of strength Maui accomplished, while also referencing his magic hook with Dragonite's tail.
Dragonite never seems to get any love in VGC. It always seems to be outclassed by another Pokemon who can fulfill its roles better. Alolan Dragonite might sing a different tune, however. In my opinion, the addition of Intimidate onto this Dragonite's Dragon/Fighting typing would vastly improve Dragonite's viability. Intimidate is a phenomenal ability in doubles, and would warrant Alolan Dragonite to use despite its 4x weakness to Fairy. Additionally, fighting typing makes pesky Steel-type Pokemon think twice about switching into Dragonite's powerful Dragon-type attacks. Overall, I definitely wouldn't be surprised to see Dragonite's usage shoot up in next year's VGC season.
Alright Wolf, with such a wide array of new forms, almost none of which we designed with competitive play in mind, which one would you say I win Worlds with in 2017?
Oof, that's a tough question, Josh. I think I've got to say the Flaming Marshmallow of Wigglytuff. You're the hero we need. Maybe not the one we deserve, but definitely the one we need. Show Wigglytuff some love, man.
Well, you heard it here first. Wiggly for Worlds 2017. But in all seriousness, this was an amazing project to work with, and I can't wait to see what other surprises Pokemon Sun and Moon have this November. Huge thanks to RC Theo and Wolf for helping put together this project, and you can check out both of their websites right here, as well as in the descriptions. While I do hope that Pokemon saves some surprises for us by the time Sun and Moon releases, it's always a lot of fun to try and imagine what new Pokemon forms might be in store for the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with more Nintendo content.